Bigfoot Radio.
Welcome to Nite Bigfoot Radio. It's May 15th, 2017, and you're here with Lauren Smith, Ricky Smith, and Lori Hood. How are y'all doing tonight?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing good. I think Ricky will be on here in just a minute, and I believe Luke has called back in. We'll get to him in a minute. Any new happenings around your area?
No. It's been pretty quiet. Lots of hogs. We've had lots of hogs. I just don't know. I think that, they had talked about poisoning them, which I hate for them to do that. But I don't know. There's just been a lot of hogs. Every day you see them. Every day. So, yeah, there's been a lot of hogs. But otherwise, Bigfoot-wise, really not anything going on. So, what about you guys? Anything? Heard any news or anything?
Tons of Bigfoot in our backyards. No, we haven't really had any action or had anything exciting. I do want to give a shout out to North Carolina Squatch Watchers. Their new project is the trailer for their new movie is out on Facebook. I'm going to be sharing it on my Facebook as well as Nite Caller's Facebook. So go check it out. It's awesome. I think everyone's really going to like it. It's not hokey. It's the narrative reels you in. So I'll be sharing that, but I just wanted to give a shout out to that real quick since that's the newest good piece of news I have. Everyone's sharing the link on my page about the dude being raped by Bigfoot. If you guys could not, that would be great.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, that's the only thing that I really don't like about telling people about what I do is that anything that has to do with Bigfoot, they share it on my page or tell me about it. And I'm just like, really? I'm like, do you not know that that's a little bit offensive that you think of me when you hear a story about that? Like, really? That's obviously a hoax. It just, personal note, that just bugs me. But I guess at least they're thinking about Bigfoot. I don't know. Anyway.
It's kind of the same thing where I work. Anything Bigfoot that comes on TV, they all run to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm appreciative of it, but it's usually something I've already missed or I don't have that channel or anything,
or
but they'll tell me about it. Yeah, well, or it will be about somebody I already know, like another Rick Dyer story or something like that, and I'm just like, they don't know, a lot of people don't know the whole story on Rick Dyer, which I found that out this last week, and that he is probably the most hated person in the Bigfoot community. And, but, a lot of people don't know the whole story. They don't know about Bigfoot Friday. They don't know about the Bigfoot in the freezer deal and how it ruined so many people's reputations by being associated with that. It was just a terrible thing. But we have a lot of new people in the community now who know nothing about it. I suggest y'all Google it. So anyway, I said my piece about that, and if there's not anything else, we'd love to bring on our old friend and
I got one.
Oh, go ahead, Rich. Sorry about that.
I've been talking about stickers. We've designed it, but now I have 4 in my hands. There's going to be 10 to 20 made next week. So whenever anybody wants, they are awesome. I can't wait to stick them on my truck. They are awesome.
Well, you got to send one to me now. It wouldn't be right if I didn't have one.
I've got 4 just for us hosts. They're 8 inches in diameter, and everybody else, what's going to be available to them are 5 inches. And I'm thinking we're going to do $5.
I would rather have a little one. I don't want to advertise too much, But I would rather have a little one. I know.
If anybody wants to buy a ginormous one to stick on your vehicle to represent Nite colors, I'm not going to be opposed to selling that to you. You just direct message us and we'll hook you up.
They're not ginormous. They're 8 inches. The big ones are.
Loud and proud.
Loud and proud.
Like, whatever we make on them is not going to just go in our pocket. I have to pay my buddy back for materials. The rest of it is going into the show. Whatever we can do for the show is going back in the show.
Amen. Yes.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we're not. No.
We're not hoping to make a fortune off of this for sure.
No, we're really doing this just to get our name out there a little bit more, so that we can pull. The thing is, the more we get our name out there, the more researchers we can pull in to interview for you guys to listen to. So we're doing this for us, for you guys. So anyway, so if you guys could, if y'all want to represent Nite colors, we will graduate from stickers to T-shirts and hats soon. That's probably what this money's gonna, do. So anyway, if you guys are interested, direct message us on Facebook, or our email address is nitecolors_BTR@yahoo.com. And that's it. Y'all ready to bring on Luke?
Sure. I'm ready. I've been ready all day since I found out. I'm so excited. Thanks, guys, for getting a hold of him, because this is just awesome. This is not going to feel like an interview. It's just going to feel like getting together with a very old friend and someone that I just love dearly, and he's like family. So,
old, though?
Well, a young friend. How about that?
When I messaged him last night, he was saying that let's just talk about Bigfoot in general, like anything we need to know about it. Not an interview, just see what his 2 cents is. Just a big discussion.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'll go ahead and read the bio very quickly. Luke is one of our favorite researchers, and he was previous co-host to Nite Colors Bigfoot Radio, and we miss him. Trying to get him back.
Very
I don't know if he'll ever come back. Yeah. But anyway, Luke has been interested in Bigfoot for over 30 years and has had many encounters, experiences, and has collected a vast amount of evidence. Luke's journey began in 1984, over 30 years ago, just outside of a small East Texas town. The name of the town isn't really that important, but what transpired outside of that town one November night is where it all began for Luke. What he saw that night standing 12 feet away from him changed the way he viewed the wilderness and wildlife that inhabits it. Having experienced the outdoors by way of hunting, fishing, and backpacking in very remote areas of the United States, Luke thought he had encountered most species of wildlife. He was wrong. Luke has always had a keen interest in wildlife since childhood, in fact, bugs especially. He studied the animal kingdom, conducting surveys and documenting his findings on every species he found. In other words, he was preparing himself for just this, There was one he had missed, one so elusive it was almost impossible to find. The one that he missed was a living legend, and he was not prepared for the profound effect it had on his life after it found him. Join us tonight as we talk to a true Bigfoot legend, Luke Grove. Bring on Mr. Grove. Okay. Am I? Hey, Luke.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes,
sir.
there's that voice.
Loud and clear, sir.
Awesome. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing great.
Doing
How are
How
you?
about you?
I'm doing awesome. I'm talking
We're
to my.
just so happy to have you on.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
so
I'm
good
happy to
hear.
be here. I am. I'm happy to be here. I really am. I was on and I think it was Facebook this morning, and Rick asked if I could come on the show, and I said, "Yep, I'll be there." And so here I am. And
Thank you.
yeah, I was listening to the intro, telling everything, for me backpacking, and and you said that I was being prepared for what I was going to be doing. No, I don't think anything could have prepared me for what I've encountered and seen and heard, and it's when it happens, you take 5 steps back and you go, holy cow, and that's what I did. I had no clue, documenting and duck species and no, this is nothing like that.
Well, I have to just jump in there. I don't know if I've ever asked you this, but did you ever know anything about Bigfoot before you actually saw one?
Well, you just run-of-the-mill stuff you hear. You might hear it on TV or something like that, but I never really knew a whole lot about it. And but it was, you hear old Bigfoot, and automatically you thought the Pacific Northwest or something like that, and the mountains and stuff. But no, not in Texas. That's what I would have said. But no, how wrong I was. Incredibly wrong. And just, it's crazy. It is. The whole, everything. First you question yourself, and you say, okay, am I seeing this? Am I, then you question yourself again. You're saying, okay, why am I doing this? Why am I out here in the woods in the middle of the night with no flashlight, no fire, no nothing? Why am I sitting here knowing that something's around? Why do you just sit there and wait? You never know what's going to happen. And that's the truth. You never know what's going to happen. And
yes, I'll tell everyone right now, he is the king of cold camps. The rest of us like to have a nice little fire. He likes to have a cold camp. No lights. Pitch dark. Isn't that right, Luke?
Yeah, that's the truth. The only thing I might have in camp is a little can of sterno burning, and I'll have honey burning on that, but that's the only light that'll be. And that was something that I picked up from Rand Trusty. He did that. He burned honey. But now it's not saying that there wasn't wood placed ready to go for a fire to start in case something happened. There was always a fire ready to be set, but just in case, or a lantern. I know lantern light seems to work real well at keeping things away from camp at night. I know that much. And but no, I've been thinking. I remember I was thinking before you brought me on that I remember when we were in the mountains in Oklahoma and way up on the Jeep Trail. And I never got to ask you this question. You remember where you set your tent up back down the hill? Okay, and there was a huge X placed right across the trail, and your tent wasn't probably 25 feet away from it. And,
okay, yes.
And we're sitting there, and then there's eye shine above way above the ground. It was probably 7, maybe 8 feet above the ground, and you walked toward your tent. And something happened to you for the first time.
Yeah.
And I've never, and I said to myself, I'm going to ask Lori this question tonight. How did that affect you? What happened? I'm asking you the question. but I've always wanted to know the answer.
I love it.
How you were affected when you walked down to your tent, which was a brand new tent, birthday present as a matter of fact.
Yes, it was. I was telling my husband about that tonight. Go ahead.
But when you walked back there, and I'd seen the eye shine. Matter of fact, I'd walked around the camp and told somebody, I said, there's eye shine right over here. Let's keep an eye out. But when you walked back, what happened had such a profound effect on you that you were crying when you walked back into camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd asked you what was wrong, and you said it had growled at you.
Yes.
And how did that affect you? I've always been curious about that. And
well, because I always thought, and this was in my weird mind, I always thought every Bigfoot that ever walked around out there liked me because I was such a nice and kind person, and I always had their best interest at heart, and I'd never been growled at. Never. They always just seemed to want to be close to me or follow me, and I always seemed to attract them, but I thought it was because that I was a good person and they knew it, but this one growled at me, and it was like, when he growled at me, it hurt my feelings. I know that's so silly, but it really did. I'd never been growled at like that. And it was like, oh, you're just up. What are you doing up here on this mountain? And I have since been growled at. I don't know. Maybe I'm not as young as I used to be. I don't know what the deal is, but I really don't. But I know that did. It hurt my feelings because I guess in my mind I always thought I had a special understanding with them. Not that I could talk to them or anything like that, but just that they knew I was cool. But I was not cool to that one that night. He was not happy that I went towards that area. And if I remember right, I went to make sure my recorder was running or something, or to turn it on, or I don't remember exactly why I went over there, but and I know we had seen eye shine over there, but at the time that I walked over there, there hadn't been any eye shine in a while, so I thought it was clear. Apparently it was not. And it was a very, very close when it growled at me. And I think maybe it scared me a little too. Because I've been around growling before, Luke. I just want to say this. I've been around it before. I always thought they were growling at somebody else that was with me, not at me. But they may have been growling at me all along, and
that's a cold slap in the face. That's just like, how dare you growl at me?
Yeah.
And
I didn't mean to get so emotional, but it really did, just because there was no one else around. So I couldn't blame it on him.
No, it was, and that night I thought that was just an awesome night. I got some recordings up there, and I'd love to go back there again. That was just
I would too.
An awesome spot, but I really did like it up there, and I enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't enjoy the trails, and I didn't have the right vehicle to get up there, but I made it barely. Ricky's down there. I'm going around the corner, and I'm going down this Jeep trail. Okay, this is a small Ford car, and he says, stop, and I see the camp down there, and I realized that was the camp, Ricky runs over and he says, "Stop. If you go down there, you'll never come back." That's it. He said, "You'll never get back up here." And I said, "Okay." And then turning around was another deal we had to go through. But we managed to get there and had a wonderful time. It really was.
You really did.
But,
I've spent at least 5 years Google Mapsing every inch of the Kaimishi Mountains to find that spot. And last year, I finally found it. Just to make sure, I took somebody out there that has never been camping in the Kaimishis before, because I didn't want my spot revealed.
Mm-hmm.
But finally, I know exactly where it's at. I've got like 14 pins on my phone saving that GPS.
Oh, wow. It is. And you know what? On the way up there, Cassie and I, we're driving along really, really slow across these large rocks. Not boulders, but they were large rocks, and just taking our time trying to find where everybody was camping. And all of a sudden, there's out of the corner of my eye, I catch this brown blob walking towards the car. Whip around and look, and it's a guy in full camouflage. So I stop the car, and he walks up. No. The guy walks up, and he goes, you see any bear? It's bear season. No, I haven't seen any bear. Nope, and didn't see any bear sign the whole time I was up there. But that was startling when you see something big, and he's a fairly good sized guy and full camouflage. And what are we going up there to do anyway? We're researching Bigfoot, and then you see this, misidentified hunter. And that was quite the trip. But then I remember some of the other times where we gone out. We went to the Sulphur River. We was up there with Billy, and that was a cool trip. It was hot.
It was. Yes, it was hot.
I remember it was June. It was June 6th when we were there. I remember.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we were out of our minds.
Yeah.
It's too hot in Texas to go in June.
I proved a point. Or my dad always used to tell me this. He says he drank coffee all the time. He said if you drink coffee when it's hot, you're going to stay cooler. And of course, I'm saying, yeah, right, sure, Dad, yeah. But you made a pot of coffee during the day on June 6th. I can't remember the year exactly. 2009, I think. And I said, okay, I'm going to put this to the test. And sure enough, I cooled down after I started drinking the hot coffee. It did work. So, Dad, if you're listening, you were right. Yep, for sure. I have a question. Go ahead.
Sure. No, I was just going to ask if you remembered that terrible windstorm up on the mountain when we were there. And it was the very first night we were there, I had, I don't even know who lent it to me. It was one of those canvas army tents. Did I borrow it from you, Rick? Yeah. Well, it just tied together. There was no zipper. There was no floor, and it just tied together in one place. And it had gaps in it, and I'm thinking, a bear is going to come in here with me. And then it started blowing and blowing. I said, oh, my God, a bear's going to come in here with me to get out of this wind. And I finally got all my stuff, and I just shoved it up in front of that open door. I mean, because it was I could see outside. And it was just,
that was all strategy. Like, we gave you the worst tent I think I could possibly find, and then you went off for a walk, and when you came back, you had that brand new tent set up. You didn't know what to do.
Yeah. No, I walked right by it. I thought it was somebody else's tent. And then everybody goes, happy birthday! And they were just kind of,
it was like, really funny because you were talking. You were talking to me, and you're just blah, 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 and you stop, and you're like, where am I? Where am I?
that was one of the best birthday presents I think I ever got was a new tent. You know, I'd always gone with someone else to use their tent. And,
yeah, we were making you call owls up while we were setting that up, and and you did. You called. We haven't talked about that in a while, but Lori is an owl whisperer. I mean, bona fide owl whisperer, and she can call them up. She'll have them in all the trees around the camp.
All my owl boyfriends.
I don't know.
Y'all remember the very last night?
You're good at it.
Okay, what about
Do you remember the very last night when we floated?
Yes.
I mean, that whole camp was flooded.
Oh my goodness! No, I don't remember that.
Really?
What, it rained?
Rain? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it poured.
Oh.
This was all, everybody listening, this was all during the Hanobi Bigfoot conference. We had all met up there and went to the conference and then kept camping and squatching out there. And, the conference was pretty great because I'm me. The most memorable thing was the Bigfoot funnel cakes. It's a giant foot. They were really good. But
I like meeting Mr. Pilates.
Yeah.
I got to meet him and Harvey. And for some reason I can't think of their first and last names, but Harvey Pratt and David Pilates. I got to meet them, and that I really liked that. And Harvey Pratt made a rendition of the Dog Man that I saw, and so I've never seen it since. I don't know if it might be in one of his books. I have no idea. But anyway, that was pretty cool. That was really a great. I really had a wonderful time. That was awesome. Even though I got marshmallow all in my hair, that was not good.
That's the weekend that JD fell in love.
Yes.
Luke, I seem to remember you and Billy and some bubbles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Hello? Did you call out?
Yeah, I was breaking up.
Oh, you're there now.
You were.
Okay.
You're good. Yeah, she was saying she remembers something about sulfur and bubbles.
Oh yeah, tiny bubbles. Oh yeah, I remember
tiny
that.
Bubbles.
Yeah.
Oh, you too. That was great.
It was. Yeah.
You know, we really didn't. There was a lot of evidence there that they were there. But we really didn't have anything significant happen until we were getting ready to leave.
Yeah.
And we were doing like a little segment thing, and we were standing there talking, and all of a sudden this big old, well, I don't know, it was either a big branch or a tree got pushed over or something right behind us. And we were so professional. We just turned and looked at it and go, yes.
Yeah, that's exactly how it went down.
And we didn't even act like it was that big a thing, you know, that there was this big crash behind us. And
yeah, and the whole thing about it is on the video, after I watched the video back, you can hear it moving, because you remember how dry the branches were in there. And the branches were, you could hear them just been stepped on and been crushed. And then you hear that tree break. And we just turn around and say, yeah, right there, you know, there's a tree break. And it was, they'll tell, you know, probably 30 yards behind us. And you could hear all this going on, even over, I think there was somebody's truck was running. It was a diesel truck that was running.
Yeah.
It may have been Billy's truck.
I think.
That's what I was thinking.
And you could hear it over that, and then it's just like, okay, there you go. And a lot of people, I've been out and had trees pushed over, and I'm fixing to head to where the tree was pushed over, and everybody else is like, nope, I'm out of here. Heading the other direction. It's like, no, wait, guys, we're supposed to be going towards the sound where we think it's at. Video cameras in hand, but I don't know.
But it was just so funny because we're talking at the camera and we're doing this for Bigfoot, Night Callers, Bigfoot Radio, and all this, and we hear the break and we both turn and look at it like it was all orchestrated, but it really wasn't. It was really part of the,
wow. And, I guess people would think, well, shouldn't you have been more excited? Well, stay up a couple of days in 106-degree weather. You're ready to, to go home. You're tired, but yeah, I remember that, and it wasn't staged or anything. I don't know if anybody ever said that or not.
And it was totally primitive camping too. There weren't any showers. You went did your bathroom out in the woods, and we got rained on and everything else, and yeah, it's like good. I'm glad he broke that branch for the camera. But,
yeah. Well, there was, like you said, there's a lot of great evidence there. There was a nest that was found, and then the woven branches into the trees, and a lot of really cool stuff that you wouldn't. It's almost Blair Witch kind of stuff, but not.
Oh, I remember. Do we still have that video up on YouTube?
Yeah.
I want to say
it is on YouTube.
I think it is. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's still there. I watched it not too long ago, thinking that was just amazing. It was just amazing. But there was something.
And post it.
There was something that I wanted to talk about tonight, if we got time, and there is a video. It's a video, but it's a video of a still picture that's out there, and everybody is. And it was taken in Texas. It was the photograph was taken on a trail cam. It was taken here in Wood County, where I live. Excuse me. Matter of fact, not too far from where I live. And several of us, it was me and Graz and Billy and Rand Trusty and Winona and Tina, we got this photograph, and it was given to me first to analyze. And, down here in this area, they actually call these things hairy toes. They call the Bigfoot hairy toes.
Really?
Yes, hairy toes is what they call them. Well, anyway, I'm sitting there. The guy shows me the photograph. He said, "This is a hairy toe." I know it is. I said, "I've got to analyze it." So we got the photograph, analyzed this photograph. And I know you've seen it, and it has, you see one of the legs of a deer feeder coming down, and there's this thing that's got like what looks like a long snout, long nose. It looks like it's got a deer over its head, or over its shoulder. And this video is out there. Somebody else has got this photograph, and they're saying, could this possibly be a Bigfoot? Is this a Bigfoot? Well, no, it's not a Bigfoot. We analyzed that photograph for 4 days, hours and hours and hours, and come to find out it's a hog with piglets. It's a hog walking away. But whoever's out there who has this video and is claiming that this is a Bigfoot, it's not a Bigfoot. We analyzed the photograph, and it's not a Bigfoot. And that's what gets me. People get these photographs. They don't analyze the photographs, and they don't try and eliminate everything that it could possibly be, hog, deer, any other wildlife. And it just kind of gets under my skin because they're not putting forth their best effort to analyze these photographs or videos as far as that goes.
Yeah.
But I just thought I'd drop that in because
Well,
I've been seeing
you know, there was that one that was going around years ago that was actually a crow. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
And so many people thought it was a Bigfoot, you know, reaching out. You know, Bigfoot squatted down and reaching out, and it was a crow.
Yep, it was a crow.
So, yeah. You would think crow, you know, but once somebody said crow, that's all you could see was crow after that. It's kind of like those pictures. Sometimes Bigfoot snapshots or supposed Bigfoot snapshots are like those pictures that, you know, like, can you see the old woman in this picture? And you're looking at it and it looks like something else entirely, but if you look at it long enough, you can see the old woman in it. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're like that a lot. A lot of times, you know, I'll have a photo sent to me, and if I look at it long enough, maybe I might see a Sasquatch in it. But if I don't see it immediately, I mean, if it's not that, then I don't consider it one. If it doesn't just jump right out at me and say,
"Sure,
I'm a Bigfoot," and I'm the worst one, and I'm telling everyone out there now, if you want to send me a picture, probably wouldn't be a good idea, because I'll tell you, I don't see anything.
Well, and
there you have it.
a lot of times, you know, people are encountering a Bigfoot or Sasquatch, whichever one you want to call, and they're encountering this and they're videotaping or they're taking photographs. But the photographs don't, you know, they know it was there. They've seen it, and they say, this is what was happening. But if other people look at the photographs, they'll say, well, I don't see it. But it doesn't mean that the encounter didn't take place.
Right,
it just means that you can't see what's going on. I've done that too. You know, I've got photographs that I've taken and stills from video I've pulled off of video, and I know exactly what happened when I was shooting the video, and I know what was there, and I can see it as plain as day. But you show it to somebody else, and it's like, oh. And it was the worst timing. I did a conference in Dallas, put on a presentation, and I had this photograph. And when I pulled it up, I was expecting everybody to just see what I was seeing. And everybody's kind of sitting there like puppy dogs with their heads turned sideways, and they couldn't see what I was seeing. And I didn't point it out. And you know, if they couldn't see it, then. But I know it was there. I know what it was. I actually got followed out and caught him on the camera paralleling me, or caught him with my bare eyes and yelled at it. Hey, yeah, but you know, it's just one thing that happens. So it doesn't mean they're not encountering something. It just means we can't see it. Not that it's invisible.
Yeah.
No, Lord.
And in everyone's defense, it may really be a picture of a Sasquatch, but I just can't see it.
Yeah.
I can't see it in the picture. I see what could be a shadow, or just like I posted some pictures of a camping trip, and I had someone send me a picture of where I was standing. There's a bush behind me and had all these circles. Where all these little creatures were in this bush where I was standing. I didn't even want to ask what he thought they were. And I know I was right there by that bush. I remember looking at that bush. It wasn't thick at all. It had a shadow of shade, but you're there and you've got the sun overhead and you can see the ground underneath it and see through the bush and all. But in the picture, it looked like it was very thick and lush, and that something could hide in it. But nothing could hide in it. And it was just I just told him I was sleep deprived, and I didn't see it. But I didn't see anything in that bush. I really couldn't. And I know it because I was there. There wasn't anything in the bush.
Yeah, and there's some footage that you shot. There's some video that you shot, and it was the Poker Creek.
Poker Creek footage, yes.
And I was amazed that you were so close. There was something gray and hairy on the backside of this brush, and it paralleled you as you walked down, and you could see it darting through. As you were filming, you could see it moving behind the brush through the holes in this brush. And I'm saying, you couldn't have been 8 feet away from it, and it wasn't small by any means. And then it comes, you walk by a pine tree, and it just, like it gets down behind the pine tree, and you had no idea it was there. It was amazing that how close they can get to you, and you won't even know it. It just.
That's right.
And
I don't think they very, very quickly in making no noise at all.
No noise.
No smell, no idea, no sound, no smell, no nothing. I had no idea he was there. But that's there's another area I had the same thing happen, and that time the camera was all over the place, and I had like several juveniles right there where you could see them. And once we freeze framed it, you could see them with you could see their chest that didn't have a lot of hair on it, and they were all jet black, and there was about 5 or 6 of them, and I had no idea. I was smelling urine, and I was hearing little branches snap and stuff like that, but I could never get anything. And then right there at the end, I was just wasn't really paying attention to what I was filming, but I was filming to the side, and that's when I caught them all. And then we got on our 4-wheelers and left. And we had Bigfoot right there. We had no idea.
I remember seeing that. I remember seeing that, and it was they were right there, and it's plain as day, and it was.
I still have that footage. I just need to get it transferred to a format that I put on the computer. It's on a VHS tape. That's how old that is. That's like from July 4th weekend, 2002, something like that. So,
Yeah.
I remember seeing the footage. That was great footage. It was good.
I do have a question from the chat. So one of our people wants to know, do you record in camp? So I know a lot of us set our recorders up away from camp. This person wants to know, do you record in camp, and have you had them go through your camp?
Yes. Yeah. And well, just last year, and this I wasn't even researching. I was deer hunting, and I had a recorder set up in camp because I think last time I was on with you guys, I talked about what was going on out there, and I'd hung a recorder there. I hang recorders by my house too. So in camp, you hang the recorders, and some of the most interesting sounds I've got was actually close to my house. Footsteps, and I've got several different vocalizations, and one that I know it. Last time Lauren said it just freaked her out to hear it. So, but yeah.
One thing about putting too close to camp is if you've got a snorer, then you're going to pick up that. Or if you have talkers late at night, which I'm guilty of that, staying up all night and talking, then, and I try to get kind of close to it, to where if anything happens on the tent, I'll be able to record it, so I can tell if it's approached and what it does, and because a lot of times if you listen to how it sounds and how it's acting out there, and you know whether or not it's a Sasquatch, like an armadillo.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know when we was there at the Kaimichis, I had taken the recorder, or I think maybe Rick, did you put that recorder up on that branch on the boulder there in the mountains that one day?
Yeah, back behind where our tent was.
Yeah, set it back by a ravine.
Yeah.
And got some fairly decent recordings on it. Something messed with the recorder all night. And got something squeezed the recorder. I had styrofoam inside of a Folgers, a plastic Folgers. I think it was a plastic Folgers can, and it just
a small one.
Yeah, and something you could hear it. It just squeezed the styrofoam, and this went on for 2 hours, at least 2 hours, and but you never heard heavy breathing or anything like that. So I couldn't really say it was a Bigfoot, but
well, let me ask you this: what else would it be?
Say again, Lori.
What else
breaking
would be? Oh, am I?
Mm-hmm.
Hear me now?
Mhm.
Barely.
Okay, not really. Maybe I need to call back in.
I think that cell tower's walking off again. Now you sound good.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
The minute she starts talking.
call back.
Yeah. Try that. I know he was asking about having them in camp. Luke, have you ever had one walk through your camp in the middle of the night?
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I actually have had them walk through. It was running a cold camp this was up on the Sulphur River, and as a matter of fact, it was a night we ran out. I was running a cold camp, and we were sitting there, and we had these long calls, and it walked probably 20 yards, probably less than that. But it come right by us, and the guy I'm with, he's sitting there and wanted to turn his spotlight on. I'm telling him, don't turn on your spotlight. Don't turn it on. But it made a mistake because you hear it stepped on a huge branch and just broke it. You could smell it, and but then the roar came 10 minutes after, so kind of gave it away what it was. But yeah, they've moved through. And I know when I'm deer hunting, I'm laying there asleep, and all of a sudden my boys are jumping up, and they're running up. They grab their handguns or their rifles, and they run to the front of the tent. Dad, there's something out here. There's something out here. And I'm just kind of say, okay, don't shoot at anything, and I just lay back down and go to sleep. But I don't get as excited as I used to, but I'm sure one day I'll be out there and something I reach up and grab my ankle through the tent, and then it's going to be on. I'll be running for the truck.
It'd be like Hulk. It'd be like Hulk when he grabs Loki.
There you go. That's it. You was going to ask something, Lori?
I was going to ask you, well, it's kind of redundant now, but when you were talking about something squeezing the microphone, I was thinking, what else could do that? What else would do that for 2 hours? I mean, I always tell myself that. What would just kind of pace around and make little growly noises and, what else would do that? What else would chunk stuff at the microphone and be there all night, basically? They sit there and record that thing. I don't know of any other wildlife that would be as interested in a microphone.
and there's one thing that I do. If I know there's no rain in the forecast, my microphone or my recorder has a small red light on it, and I make sure that red light can be seen.
Yes.
That's one
really
small red light. And if I hide it, if I cover it up with tape, I don't have as much success. But I've got recordings that sounds like stomachs growling,
Wow.
flatulence, or should I say a big fart, you know. I don't know what it is. It could have been a wild pig down under there, but, it wasn't rooting around, and you hear sticks clacking together and tree knocks, off in the distance, and footsteps walking up to the recorder, and then, something moving around under the recorder, and but the little red light, I think, attracts them.
Those recordings, they tell a story. You can become very involved when you're listening to them. You become very involved in the story that those recordings are telling you. And it's not just really your imagination, because what you're hearing is telling you that something has approached, then it's doing this, then it's doing that, then it's doing nothing. You think but it hasn't. It's just being very quiet. And then it starts to do something again, and you say, well, it hasn't left. But I remember one time I had a recorder hanging from a tree about 4 foot off the ground, and this big old hog comes up and starts nuzzling it and chewing on it. And I'm like, oh, please don't chew my... I've already picked it up, and I'm listening to the recording. But I was so involved in listening to it, I'm thinking that hog is going to eat my microphone, and obviously it didn't. And you become very... I've learned so much from recording because you don't get to actually witness them approach a camp. You don't actually get to witness what they do, how they'll circle the camp, how the little things that they fiddle with while they're just watching. You don't get to witness them come in and start messing with stuff in your camp. I can't tell you how many times people have heard that on their recordings where it comes in, plays with a coffee pot, looks in the cooler, stuff. And they wouldn't know that if they hadn't recorded. So I think it's real important to record.
Oh, yeah. 100%. I agree 100%. Recording, it is. I'm the same way as you are. When you're trying to make it through 16 hours of recording.
Oh, I know.
and you're listening to everything. And when something happens, you can actually visualize, like when one's walking up towards the recorder, you can visualize it moving towards the recorder and then sitting down, squatting down, messing with branches below the recorder, just and like you said, it does tell a story, and I think it's important, very, very important.
Do you still record?
I've got a question for you.
Oh, go ahead, Rick. I'm hogging the guest. Go ahead, Rick.
That's all right. You were saying that your boys bring handguns when they go. Do you think Bigfoot have any kind of knowledge that firearm's there, even though it might not be in sight?
Probably so, because I think that, well, they're not stupid for sure, but I think if anybody cleans their gun, and most hunters do clean their guns on a regular basis, keep them clean, and I know rim oil has a pretty good smell to it, and a lot of the cleaners have a good smell. And I think they might be able to associate those scents with a weapon, and as far if one, if you got one tucked away under your coat or something like that, maybe not. But once a year, they say, okay, here comes all these people, and there's gunfire. So I think they might say, okay, there's a lot of people out here with weaponry or with guns, and they could shoot us. And But that didn't seem to bother the ones where we hunt, at least the one, because it's been coming around camp and throwing big logs into the pond below us and breaking trees and all kinds of stuff around us. So it knows we're there, and it knows we have weapons, because I'm sure, from my experience, as soon as you set foot in the woods, they're going to know you're there, if they're even remotely close to you. I mean, if they're, they're going to listen to the other wildlife. You walk into the woods, birds sound off, blue jays, the tone of the forest changes, and the wildlife changes. You can't go into the woods or to any forest completely undetected. And at least I can't. There might be somebody out there that can, but I can't because of wildlife. And I don't like going out there, not unless I'm hunting deer. But if I'm researching, I don't like going out there trying to be quiet and sneak around and do all that, because then it's like that you're being the predator. Then you're up to no good. But yeah, I think they can probably smell a weapon. Now I know we've taken when we had our research station set up in the trees, we packed weapons in there, and they still come around. Throwing stuff up at us, hitting the sides, and they come around, and you could hear them. And when you hear one go through a creek, and you find the tracks, and you know what it was, but when you hear it happen, you think, oh my gosh, there's something huge just hit the water, and you hear it just whoosh. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
Do you think if you had a weapon versus not having a weapon, do you think that would change their mood as far as aggressiveness?
Nope, I don't think so. I don't think they want to be, personally, I don't think they want anything to do with us. If you're in, okay, maybe if you're going into an area that is so far out of the way, totally off the beaten path, and you're going into their turf, their home.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a gun, or you could be just walking through the area, and I think you're more apt to have an aggressive encounter instead of a passive encounter. They don't want you there, and we were in this one area for years, and it took forever for them just to start coming up. But this is after having aggressive encounters with them. But we continued going into the area. But if you're at home, I was sitting here at my house. I was outside in November. I was cooking some chicken, barbecuing some chicken. Sitting there, okay, got my little headlamp on, checking the chicken. And all of a sudden a rock comes and lands next to my chair that I'm sitting in. Well, I immediately, there's nothing else but a human that's going to throw a rock at me. Wasn't a big rock. I don't know, it was a little bigger than maybe the size of a 50-cent piece. Well, I immediately get up, turn and look towards the fence row where there's a lot of trees there, and I walk up to the fence, and immediately I break some sticks and I lay them out on a dog kennel I have there, and I turn and walk back and continue cooking my chicken. Well, that night, it began I guess you could call it some type of relationship. At least there was some. It would come up. It would come up under the recorders and make sounds, but as soon as I put a game camera out, that all ended quick.
Mm-hmm.
But no aggressive encounters here except one. It slapped the side of the house, and I don't know if that was because it was trying to get my attention and wanting me to come outside, or if it was mad. But this didn't.
What is some of that chicken, Luke?
Yeah, maybe so. Wanted some of my barbecue chicken. But yeah, and that's another thing. I never left food out there. I've never left food for them except one time. Did it for a while. Not any results. Now some people leave food and they have a lot of results. But I'd rather earn their trust in another way. There's other ways that you can do it without using food. That's kind of like let's feed the lion and see what happens.
Yeah.
That doesn't work out too well. But I'm afraid of them, but only in certain situations. If they show some aggression, then you have something that big. It's say, okay, yeah, it's time to leave. It's time to leave. Okay, you know me, I'm long-winded. Go ahead. I'll shut up.
No, you're awesome.
No, this is why you're on here.
But no, I'm glad to be on here. I am. It's
yes.
I have a lot of fun, and I like sharing. I like telling people what I've experienced, and I've experienced so much, and there's a lot of things I've experienced that I haven't talked about, and I don't know if I ever will talk about it or not. And
well, speaking of that, you're probably one of the original grassroots researchers, the Mr. Scientific, that you don't claim anything unless you can prove it scientifically, unless you actually witnessed it or there were other witnesses with you. I mean, you're very particular about the things that you tell about or share. But in saying that, what do you think about this woo-woo movement? I call it the woo-woos. The people that are talking about portals and other dimensions, interdimensional traveling, or the cloaking, the mind speak, it has become huge. Huge.
It has.
It has exploded. If we had a show that's all we had on it, my goodness, we would knock them all out of the park. There's so many people out there that believe that way, and yet there's just as many who believe the more, they're flesh and blood, they're no different than we are, they're just a little more wood savvy and all. But what is your opinion of this woo-woo movement? Do you think it's going to go away or just become more?
No. I don't think it is going to go away. And like I said, the people that are saying these things are happening. I had a friend that would tell me, the things that's going on with him, and they were very woo-woo. Okay, the things that were happening were just, dimensional. Going into another dimension and them talking. And this is what I told them. I said, those are your experiences. Those are your experiences. I personally have never, in all the years that I've been researching, I have never experienced this. Never. I've never experienced mind speak. I've never experienced seeing them stepping out of a portal.
Nope.
None of this. Okay, but those are my experiences, okay? What they're seeing and experiencing, I don't know what's going on, if it is going on at all. That's their experience. Those are their experiences, not mine. And unless I see it, I would be the first to tell you. If I seen a portal open up and a Sasquatch step foot out and give me the peace sign and then give me the bird, then, then I would be the first to tell you, yes, I have seen it. I believe it goes on. But until I've seen it, I can't believe it. I really can't.
You can't sign on to that.
No, I cannot sign on to it.
I am the same way, but there is more and more and more and more. And more people, we interviewed a group of young ladies that the very first time we interviewed them, they were grassroots researchers. And then they came to me and said they've discovered the truth about Bigfoot, and they were just couldn't wait to share it. And then they told me they were interdimensional, and they just it went into this spiel, and it was totally woo-woo. And I was like, oh, no, I'm sorry, but I can't let you come on our show and talk about that. And but there's so many. And I mean, it's what's happening is Bigfoot suddenly becoming a space traveler Bigfoot. I mean, the Bigfoot that we've always known. And I know that strange things happen out there. Mm-hmm. I know that, I've experienced batteries going dead. All of these batteries going dead. Was that the effect of infrasound or what? There's numerous explanations, but I just don't know what's going on. What is it trolls coming in and wanting to get everybody so confused about Bigfoot that everybody just walks away from it and it's a government conspiracy? What is it?
There are really nice people that we've had on our show that believe in it because of experiences they've had, just like Luke said. That's their experience, and most of the people who believe in it now were just absolutely would never have believed in it until something happened to them. It's hard to. It's just like Bigfoot altogether. You would have never believed in it, and then it happened to you, and you're like, well, crap, now I don't have a choice because I saw the damn thing.
That's right.
So on to another topic real quick. I have a question from the chat. He wants to know, what is your most unusual encounter? This one goes to Luke first.
Most unusual encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, that's hard to put one finger on, really. It really is.
The one that stands out for me was the one when you were in a field, I believe, with Billy, and you were squatching, and you ended up seeing something else instead in the sky.
Yeah, that was weird, and
that was a different night.
That would be, I would say, that would be the weirdest one. But and like I said, we were all out in this field. There were several of us there, and we'd been hearing Sasquatch calls. And matter of fact, I think me and my son went into one area. We heard something big go through the brush and into the water. I don't know what it was. And then Billy was there, and we all wound up at the front of the property, and we turned and we're looking west, and all of a sudden there's this disc-shaped object hovering there. And we looked at it through the rifle scopes, and we watched for a long time, and it sat there, then it would move up and down. And I guess that would be the weirdest. But am I associating the Bigfoot with the UFO? Not in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, no. It was just weird.
That was a weird. But okay, no, I will. As far as weird with the Sasquatch, here's one I will tell you. I was in eastern Louisiana in an area researching and watching the tree lines, and all of a sudden we see these two lights in the trees. One's green and one's red. They are moving so fast, moving and dodging trees. It's like two miniature jet fighters moving through the trees so fast. That was one of the weird things I've seen up there. Red and green lights. But
Tinkerbell was having a dog fight.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Now, I didn't, and trust me, I looked up everything, lights, insects that live in the woods that could possibly, have been doing what these two lights were doing.
How big were the lights, Luke? How big were they?
They were probably about the size of a golf ball.
Wow.
How far out?
Probably about 60, 70 yards. But they were at the tree line next to an open field, and then they went into the trees and just moved every which way. Like I said,
and they were moving way too fast to be a lightning bug or anything like that.
Oh, yeah, no. Way, way, way too fast. But I thought that was pretty cool. It was kind of cool, actually, to see. It wasn't scary or anything like that. That was a weird encounter. And as far as, I'm going to say the weirdest Bigfoot encounter I've ever had is when we was in the research station, and we had all decided to get on the ground, and I told you this story before, but one got so close to behind us that everybody at the same time said, we got to get up back into our stand, into this research station. Mm-hmm. Everybody at the same time, immediately, we got to go. And there was one standing 15 feet, if that, behind us, and we never heard it. And there was tall grass and branches, and we never heard it get that close. Never. But I would say that was probably really weird. I don't know how it did it, but it did. And we experienced the same thing, something similar to that. Was Billy, and I think it was my son Luke, and then Ash Tucker was with us one night. And this was right before this vocalization occurred, right across the creek from us. This was up by the Sulphur River, too. Right before this vocalization happened, every one of us got chill bumps. We instantly got chill bumps. And we all mentioned it. I got chill bumps, and I said I did too, and before the vocalization. And and you sat there and I tried to figure it out, thinking, okay, scientifically, and the only thing that I could figure was it had to be an infrasound effect.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I think there's a lot of other animals that can do that, low frequency sound. So, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but that's the only thing that I could come up with, that's what had happened. And why would we all at the same time say, oh, we have to get up, we got to go. Everybody gets up and starts up in the stand at the same time. What caused that? What caused that at the same time? We all have instincts, and I think we have instincts that's buried, and that when we put ourselves in a situation where your instincts have to be, all your senses have to be on point in an area, and you're paying attention to everything. I think that at some point in time, your instincts become sharper, and it kind of comes back to you. Something comes back to you, your senses, and you can sense things better. I know if you put me out in the wilderness for a week, I can see better, I can smell better with my nose, I can hear better. That's because you're honing in. All your instincts are returning. Your senses are becoming more sharp. But oh gosh, you can go on and on and on. But
Luke, you was saying that you camp in the dark. You have no fire. Mm-hmm. For new people that are trying this, do you think that's good advice, or?
Well, I think it depends on if you you've been going into this area, fire keeps a lot of other animals out. If you're going in an area that has bears and wild hogs, mountain lions, probably wouldn't be a good idea, not unless you're on your toes. You have to be really on your toes. But be prepared, because if you're in a hot area, an active area, they're going to get really close to you, and they might get closer than you want them to. So,
in your experience, what lunar stage is the best to get the closest?
The new moon.
Interactive. The new moon, yeah.
New moon. No moon at all. And I've time and time again, and I think it may differ in different areas, and I've done the vast majority of my research here in Texas, and I found that during the new moon, they can move around more.
Yes, they can.
It's like where I had my first encounter. You've seen it over there, Lori. You could drive through there and you say, no way, there's no Bigfoot here whatsoever, because there's just beltways of trees running through this area along creeks. But what is a better way to move around and not be detected? It would be, especially in more open areas, it's when it's totally dark outside, and you can move around undetected. But if you have a full moon, the chances of being seen are a lot greater in an open area. Now, if you have mountainous regions, it's like the Pacific Northwest, maybe there's a full moon, but not here.
What do you think
in my experience?
What do you think about calling or wood knocking?
I don't call, and the last time I wood knocked, the response wasn't good. The response wasn't good. It was, as a matter of fact, I won't do it again. I won't wood knock ever. It was just, and 11 people being roared at the same time because I wood knocked.
Man.
Yeah, I told the story. If you want to hear it, go back and listen to the last show I was on. I told the story, and it was one of the people there. They were catatonic. They were just terrified.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that was the cemetery, wasn't it?
That was the cemetery. Yep, that was it. And things being thrown and roars and it's quite the situation. Something got hit by a car, and the party ended when the game warden showed up with county sheriff deputy. So, somebody called in hitting an animal there, and we was right there when it happened. Boom! Truck stops, and then it takes off again. But no, I don't wood knock or make calls, vocalizations. Used to, I would, but I figured if they're going to know I'm there at some point in time, like I said, go in quiet or not go in quiet, just go in, talk, and carry on like normal. They're going to know you're there. So
that's exactly right. You don't have to do anything to call them in.
No.
And a lot of times you don't know what it is you're actually saying when you're doing these calls, and they may be an aggressive call or a distress call, and then when they get there and realize it's you, they are not happy campers.
Not a happy
at all.
camper.
It's better just for them to be curious and ease on in and observe you, and you don't have to experience the aggression or put yourself in danger. What do you think, Luce, about all these people out there saying Bigfoot are dangerous, they're killers, they're they'll rape you, they'll maim you, they'll eat. I read a story the other day, well, it was on one of these radio shows about somebody getting their arm eaten off by a Bigfoot. What do you think of, do you think there are monster Bigfoot out there that we should all be terribly afraid of them, and what do you suggest?
Well, I think anything can happen, but I personally, I've never had an encounter that aggressive to where I'm for fear of my life. But as far as attacking people, I think it can happen, but I think it depends on what the person's doing. If you're out there researching and say you got a Sasquatch over here that's been shot at or shot and has managed to survive, he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. Mm-hmm. It's like just like any like a bear. You shoot a bear and he survives, he's not going to like humans, and if he sees you do it, I think anything's possible. But as far as eating you, I don't know about that. But, I don't know.
I didn't know what to think about that story either. It was a heck of a good story, but I don't know.
Well, it's you've heard the old stories. I think the miners up in Oregon, they had an encounter, and they called what it was. They called it a hermit had gone in and actually killed some miners in this camp. That's if they shoot at it. Yeah, I know of one story, a report I got from here, and these guys were out. They were fishing, and they're on all of this. It's a small lake, and they were all on the road. Road ran down to the little lake, and they were fishing, and all of a sudden they hear this sound, and they shine their flashlights on. This happened in the 50s. They shine their flashlights, and there's this huge red eyes looking at them. So somebody was drunk. They raised their rifle, and it was a 30-30, and they shot. Well, they hear that god-awful scream, and it takes off, breaking through the small saplings and trees and tearing things up. Well, they're sitting in there, and the next thing they know, something's at the front of one of their vehicles was beating in the hood of the vehicle. An aggressive encounter, but caused by the person who fired the shot.
Right.
I'm in order to prove the existence, and I think not anybody will say it, but and we could have the best video in the world out there, and it's not going to prove their existence. And I wouldn't want to be the one to do what I'm about to say, but somebody's out there. There'll have to be a body to prove their existence. I hate that. I do, but that's one of those things that it's going to wind up. Somebody's going to shoot one. It's going to be accidentally, or then it's going to be an aggressive encounter. They're going to have to shoot one, and it's terrible. I hate to see the loss of one's life, be it a female or a male or a baby or whatever. I had a point I was trying to make there. If that's the reason why I said that, but I'm over 55. I have totally forgot where I was going with that. Totally forgot.
Well, it's kind of like, what would you do if you did have a body? I mean, what would be I am sure that every Bigfoot researcher out there, this has been many campfire fodder. Mm-hmm. What would you do if you have one? Do you drag it down to the TV station? Do you, what do you do with it? Do you put it in a freezer and
Gosh, you're really going there with that, aren't you? Mm-hmm. No, if I just happened to come across the body of one, I would take, and if there was a head, I would take the head and leave the body, and photograph everything, and then I would find a scientist, a group of scientists that would be willing to say, okay, we'll look at what you got. Then you might be lucky to get your head back.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're one that believes in conspiracy theories and stories that the government already knows about these things, which they probably do, more than likely, I'm sure they do, it'll be swept under the rug. So to me, in reality, just leave it. If it depends, you know, if you're out to prove its existence, and if you're out to get rich off of it, then by all means, just get the body and hope you get out of the woods with it.
Amen. Amen.
Because seriously, from there's never just one in an area. There's never just one. There's 1 to 3 in an area.
And they're very particular about who has the body of their family member. They don't want that body leaving, and they'll do anything they can to stop it from happening.
Well, wouldn't you?
Yep. Yes, I would. Wow.
Yeah, that's me too. I wouldn't want anybody taking, you know, one of my kids got hurt or shot or died. Somebody come in. No, that wouldn't happen. I'd do anything and everything I could, you know. But no, it's one of those things, you know. I've been researching, just trying to find the answers to my questions. I've had a lot of questions. That's why I've researched as long as I have. And have I found all the answers?
I've known you probably 17 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And I've watched you go from thinking they were an ape to actually thinking they were a humanoid or a relic hominid, or you actually did graduate from ape to relic hominid, and it wasn't an easy task for you to go from gorilla ape-like thing to relic hominid. So,
That's
what
right.
do you think? You know, we just have probably 2 more minutes left. I just wanted to ask you, what would you like to happen? I mean, what are you waiting for now? Because you've been doing this for 30 years. Do you want to communicate with them? What is it that you want to do now?
That would be
do you
it.
Still want to prove their existence, or
no? They're there. I have no doubt. I know what I've seen, experienced, but I think communication is probably what I'd want to do. And I think it's possible. I know it's possible. But it would take years, from what I've learned and what others have learned, years of study to actually be able to do this. And that's when I was telling you about breaking the sticks after the one threw the rock at me. I broke the sticks and I laid out a pattern. And a lot of people think this is a woo-woo stuff. And you just you said it earlier that scientifically, I'm very scientific. I've got to know for sure if this is what's going on, and try and prove that it's anything else. But when I went to the fence and on top of the dog kennel, I broke these sticks and laid them out in a pattern, and that's part of communication. And after I placed that pattern, that's when everything started here close to my home.
Wow.
after that was placed, and that the communication it's going to take a lot of time, of time. But I've learned some things, and there's a lot of other people, several other people that have learned it too, but there's some fascinating things going on out there as far as attempts to communicate with them. Not vocally, not verbally, but in other ways, and no, not mentally, no, please don't go there, no. But, it's there, and somebody needs to do more with it, more than what I have.
Yeah, because some people are believe they're communicating with marbles or rocks, sticks, symbols. They're using all different kinds of things, and they're communicating. They really might not understand completely what they're saying to each other, but they know there's been an interaction,
That's exactly right. Exactly. And if you're out there and you're using putting these symbols down, and you can say, and I've had people tell me this, they're telling me this. This is what they're saying. And my next question is, how do you know what they're saying? How do you know that this means this is your name? How do you know this means that's the one over hiding behind the big tree over there? They don't know.
They don't.
Oh, wait, no, wait, it's coming to me. They just told me through mind speak. Okay. No, sorry. Yeah. I've never experienced it, I haven't. But it can happen, and I did this study with several other people for over 3 years of research in getting into ancient languages, ancient symbols, ancient languages. It can be done, but a lot of the things that we had found out was that these ancient languages that seemed to be used, that were being used, nobody has ever deciphered these languages. Never. Not linguists, nobody. Nobody has done it. So that's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing stuff. And it's not woo-woo. It's all scientific. Everything.
Yeah.
You've probably seen a video.
I can go with that a little better than the woo-woo. It's not that I disbelieve anything that anybody says that has happened to them. It happened to them, and I have to see it. Just like I didn't believe Bigfoot till I saw one. I'll be the same way about everything else.
Yeah, and that's me too. I don't mean to sound so mean. I don't, but that's like I said. That's just it. I mean, they're having their experiences, and I haven't had that experience. So, to me, until I do, I can't say anything. But when I'm using something physical, when I'm physically placing something out, and I'm getting a physical response back, and you're seeing footprints, and you're recording vocalizations, and you're hearing footsteps walking up to these sticks that you've placed out. When one of the researchers walks into the area where they're trying to communicate using this, they walk right up on one, squatted down over these symbols, manipulating these symbols. That's proof. That's hard physical evidence that something's going on there. And do you know what it's saying? Nope. We have no clue. No clue. But
maybe they don't even know. Maybe it's
that's possible.
They may be in the same position we're in. They don't know what it means either.
Well, In some cases, maybe. But there's something that it eluded me for a month. I tried to figure this out for a month. I really can't go into it. I can't. It's so mind-boggling. But
would you be willing to go into it in a second show?
If that's the case, you would have to have several people on the show at the same time.
Okay.
If that's the case, and I can contact them, and maybe they're listening to the show right now. But I can't talk about it. I can't because it was a group effort, and it was a lot of people involved in it. And I think it needs to be talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's do it.
Let's get
it on.
We've
Well,
only got
We've
only got two more episodes this season before we go to summer hiatus. So I don't know if we can arrange it before then. You know,
if not, we can arrange it for. I can try to arrange it if everybody agrees to if they would like to talk about what went on. And to me, a lot of the credit goes to one certain person that had really, really, really put this super huge effort out in this study. That it was an ongoing study. We did it for, like I said, 3 years, a little over 3 years. And she put a lot of effort into it and made a lot of fantastic discoveries that were, you've heard things being alluded to in the past from people's reports from other people of certain things going on, but she actually had them happen to her, and I'm talking about reports from the 70s and the 60s, and she actually had them happen to her. But a lot of it has to do with colors, certain colors, and I won't go into any more than that. But I think that's a good place to leave it until we can see if we can get it together.
Well, let's see if we can't do that. That would be a very interesting show. Luke, we thank you so much for coming on tonight. It was a wonderful, as always, to talk with you, and we've missed you terribly, all of us, and everybody out there has too. And so it was really good to hear from you tonight, and hear not just about your experiences, but your thoughts on Bigfoot, because I'm like a lot of people. We respect your opinion on it. You've been doing it for 30 years. You are a veteran. So thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Oh, my pleasure. Anytime.
Well,
appreciate
we'll see everyone. Yes. Go ahead.
I was just telling him I appreciate him coming on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm glad you caught me this morning, Rick.
Yeah, me too. Well, everyone, we will see you next Monday. And remember, we are going to be going on summer hiatus after Memorial Day weekend. We'll be running some older shows on YouTube. So if you're wanting to get your Night Callers Bigfoot Radio fix, that would be the place to go, to our Night Callers page on YouTube. And we'll be running some of the older shows with Luke when he was hosting. And so I think you'll enjoy them. But anyway, time to say goodnight, everybody, before they shut us off. So, Luke, thanks.
You bet. You guys have a great night.
You too.
And don't forget your stickers.
Yeah, that's right. Don't forget stickers.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
All right. Good night.
All right.
Towers Bigfoot Radio.